Hey everyone, my name is Yash Chavan. I am a computer science graduate, currently working at BrowserStack as a full-time SDE customer engineer. So a lot of you have been asking me on LinkedIn, WhatsApp regarding how did I get into BrowserStack, the process, preparation. So I thought why not create a YouTube video explaining and sharing my experience. And also it has been now 4 months into this organization. So it is a good time now to make this video I feel. So yeah, without wasting any time, let's get started. So there were two BrowserStack drives when I was in my fourth year, and yeah, I just completed my graduation in June of 2026. So the first BrowserStack drive was an on-campus drive in our college. It was in June of 2025 for the SDE-Backend intern role. Okay, and the second BrowserStack drive was in the month of February 2026, which was for the SDE-Customer engineer role and which was off-campus. So a form was circulated in multiple colleges. So yeah, these were the two drives. I would first explain you obviously the second one because I got selected as SDE Customer Engineer intern, and then I would come to the first drive to just share some experiences. Coming to the second drive first, as I mentioned, a Google form was circulated in multiple colleges which required basic information, the resume, skills, etc. etc. The basic information was required. Once that form was submitted, based on the submission of the form, there were multiple rounds that were taken. All the rounds for the SDE Customer Engineer role were online itself. Okay, so starting off with the first round, which was a video submission round, in which we had to basically introduce ourselves, talk about the experience and the skills, talk about why do we want this role and why we are a fit for this role. So it was basically checking how do we communicate our ideas, how do we speak and articulate the thoughts that we have, and why do you want to work with this organization, etc. etc. Basically a 3-minute video with covering all these pointers. So yeah, this was the first round. I submitted the 3-minute video and got shortlisted for the next round. There is one important thing that I want to bring to your notice is that sometimes what happens is that the video that you submit on their platform, it might get lost somewhere. Like I had some friends there which were mentioning that they had to resubmit the video or share the video via email as well because the BrowserStack team was not able to retrieve the video. So in that case, it is always recommended that you submit the video by replying to the mail as well, just in case the video gets lost somewhere. So yeah, this was the first round. I got shortlisted for the second one. The second round was kind of an assignment. So there were two parts to this assignment. The first one was a Selenium automation, and the second one was creating a presentation, basically a slide deck. So talking about the first one, where we need to create an automation, fairly simple assignment. But the main challenge I feel that we need to present the assignment in such a way that we use all the best practices in the code. It is not like, okay, it is a Selenium script that we have to build, give it to AI, it will create 2-3 files and yeah, you're done. It's not like that. I feel that you need to follow object-oriented concepts. You need to properly articulate the folder structure, distribute the code as per the functions. So that is what I did because I felt that that will make me stand out in this age of era where everyone is writing the code using Copilot and just understanding what was done. After writing the script, it's not like we run it locally itself and share the video. We also had to run that script on their platform. It was a learning experience because we had to crawl through the docs, use the SDK, understand okay what we need to change. It was a fairly easy task, but still I would say that it was kind of a learning experience of integrating SDK into the code base or the script that we have. So yeah, this was the first part of the assignment. I was fairly able to do this. Obviously I used AI, but also some of my knowledge. The second part was creating a presentation deck. So we had to choose kind of a software or any SaaS product, and we had to build a presentation deck pitching that SaaS product. So it was kind of a tricky situation because I'm not that good at making presentations. But yeah, it was required because the role demands that you have to present the product that you have with all the relevant details and not just filling in the slides. So yeah, I used Canva in order to build this pitch deck. I had to crawl close to 25 to 30 presentation decks, picked one slide from each of the decks which I liked, and then integrated all of them together. I had some flowcharts or diagrams in Canva itself where I could put pictures and details in an easy manner. So I used that, which helped me a lot. So I completed both the assignments and submitted. For the assignment that we have, we also have to share the public build URL of the execution that you perform on the BrowserStack platform. So yeah, once these two assignments were submitted, after some days, I get an email that now my technical rounds are getting started. So these two rounds were mainly that I have to do something and then submit it. But now I have a 1:1 round, just like an interview. After these two rounds, the third round was a technical round. So talking about the technical interview, I was asked two DSA questions, easy to medium. So if you have done basic data structures like array, stack, queue, linked list, not the advanced ones like graphs, DP, etc. Even if the basic ones are done, I guess you should be able to do the questions, I was able to do both of them with the optimal approach. So this was about the DSA. The pitch deck that I submitted via the email, I had to present that pitch deck to the interviewers, where I had to go through the slides and pitch the product to them. And I did a pretty decent job. Just there was one question which I kind of was not able to tackle. So the question was like, if the employee that I have is visually impaired, so how will he use your software? So I was not able to give that answer that properly, and then the interviewer corrected me as well, saying that what should I say in such cases. So yeah, before this technical round, in order to prepare for this pitch, I used Claude because it gave me fairly scenarios and some pointers that I can highlight and emphasize on, which elevated my pitch. And the rest of the questions were with respect to the assignment, like what optimizations did I did into this code, why did I do such a thing, some basic syntax level questions as well, just to understand if I have just used AI or I've written and understood the code that I have submitted. And I was able to do that because, as I mentioned, that I had thought about the script that I was building. And yeah, so the interviewers were happy with my answers. The last part was regarding Selenium, and I already mentioned to the interviewers that I'm not from the testing background. I am from the web development, DevOps kind of background, where I mainly have backend related knowledge. So about Selenium, I'm not that great. So they understood this, but now the interviewer, fortunately or unfortunately, I should say fortunately, was also from the web development background. So he just asked me, okay, you use Node.js obviously in the backend? I said yes. He told that, okay, explain me the Node.js architecture. How does it work in the browser or in the backend? So I had to kind of pull up the Xcali draw or TL draw and then explain him the entire architecture about the callback queue, the stack that is used, the web APIs that we are using, and the entire process of any specific function. So I guess the interviewer was happy with my explanation, and he also cross-questioned me why there are two queues in the architecture, etc., etc. And yeah, this was it about the technical interview, and the interviewers were happy. I feel I did a decent job, and after a few days, I get a mail that, okay, you have now your last round, which is the managerial round. So yeah, up till now we have done 3 rounds: the video submission round, the assignment round, and the technical round. Now for the last round, which is the managerial round. So yeah, this managerial round that I had was about 45 minutes, but my round completed in 30 minutes itself. So what happened was that the manager just, after the introduction, asked me to explain about my project. So I had a project. I just explained all the details about my project, why did I took some decisions about this project, and the team that was working on this project, we had published an IEEE paper on this project, had presented that paper into an international conference at Bangalore. So the manager then asked about adding new features to your project. What will you change? Why will you change it? And then when you take this project to scale, what changes will you do? How will you distribute the load because it is an AI application, and what are the practices that you will follow in the backend in order to orchestrate the working of the application in a proper way. So I was fairly able to explain my thoughts based on the questions that the manager asked, and obviously there is no right or wrong answer in this case because it is my project. So whatever I feel about the project, I will be explaining to the manager, and obviously the manager will critique me based on the answers that I gave, what is the depth of the approach that I'm using. So yeah, this was about the project. Then because I mentioned the IEEE paper, the presentation into an international conference, and also the patent registration, we had also registered a patent for this project and this idea. Then we had some basic conversation about some behavioral questions, what is the role, what are the responsibilities, etc., etc. And yeah, then the interview concluded 15 minutes prior. The interview went very well. I don't remember any instances where I was not able to answer or faced problems. So yeah, it was fairly good interview. And after that, I got selected as a SDE customer engineer intern. So yeah, 3 months of internship got converted to full time. So this was the overall experience of the second drive. Now for the first drive, which was for the SDE-Backend intern role, because it's a development heavy role, the rounds are also pretty much difficult. So for the first one, a college form was circulated to gather the details, which were sent to the HR, and based on that, some students were shortlisted. So the exact criteria was not known, like based on the resume or pointers or what the students were shortlisted, but the students who were shortlisted got an online assessment link. So this online assessment link, the drive that we had, so there were only MCQs based on the accuracy, like you have to get all 20 right, only then you are eligible to get selected. In my case, I missed it by just one answer. So after giving the OA, I just realized, okay, yeah, this one was wrong answer, due to which I was not selected for the next rounds. But yeah, I will share you the experience that I have gathered from my friends just to give you a short gist. So whoever got all 20 right with some other factors were selected for the next rounds. Now this online assessment was online, like you could give it from home. But for the next next rounds, you had to go to the office. All the rounds will take place in one day itself. So you had to go to the office with your laptop because there is a machine coding round as well. So in the office, there were 3 to 4 rounds you can consider, where the very first round was the machine coding round, where a problem statement was given related to, let's say, WebSockets or streaming, and you had to build up a solution based on that. And obviously you have entire internet access, so you can use anything, but obviously your knowledge will be tested. Once you complete the implementation, you will be asked questions based on that. Based on your answers, there will be more questions, they will go in depth, and based on that you will be selected for the next round. So after this machine coding round, which lasts for I guess 2 to 2.5 hours, after that whoever are selected will go to the next round, which is kind of all the technical rounds. So after the machine coding one, there is one technical round, and any technical round consists of these 4 details. So the first one is obviously your experience and projects. The second one is DSA. The third one is obviously CS fundamentals, and the fourth one is your communication ability. So yeah, there were close to 2 technical rounds after the machine coding round, and the last round would be kind of a behavioral round, where you obviously the typical behavioral questions and obviously some technical questions as well, but majorly focused on the behavioral aspect. So yeah, these were the 4 rounds for this particular role. And just a quick note that for the technical rounds, the DSA that is asked, it can be medium to hard. So you need to know graph, trees, if in case they ask such questions. And you don't have to code and pass test cases there, but you need to show the depth and the optimal approach that you have for the problem that is given. So hope that you got some clarity based on my experience through this video. If so, please do like the video and share it with your friends. Also subscribe. I am not that active on this channel, but yeah, you can subscribe. And that's it. Meet you in the next one. Thanks. Bye bye.